Once upon a time, in a small and quiet village nestled between two great mountains, there lived an old farmer named Elias. He had two sons. The elder son was called Marcus, tall, sharp, and always hungry for more. Even as a little boy, Marcus would look beyond the mountains and say, "One day I will be the richest man in the world. People will speak my name with respect." The younger son was called Samuel. He was quieter. He had gentle eyes and a warm smile. He never talked much about the future, but every single day he worked hard beside his father, and whenever a neighbor was struggling, Samuel was always the first to help. Two brothers, two hearts, already two very different paths. When their father, Elias, grew old and frail, he called both sons to his bedside. He looked at them with tired but loving eyes and said, "My sons, I am not a wealthy man. I cannot leave you gold or land, but I will give each of you something far more valuable than any treasure." He reached under his pillow and pulled out two small envelopes. Inside each one, a single folded piece of paper. Marcus opened his eagerly. It read, "Go to the city, work hard, trust no one, take everything the world offers, because the world is only kind to the strong." Samuel opened his slowly and carefully. His paper read, "Stay close to people, give more than you take. The seeds you plant in others will grow back to you 100-fold." Marcus looked at his brother with a confident smile and said, "Father has given me the better advice. The city is where fortunes are made." Samuel said nothing. He simply folded the paper and placed it close to his heart. The next morning, Marcus packed his bags and left without looking back. Samuel stayed. He buried his father, and he continued working the land. Years passed. Marcus arrived in the city and attacked life like a warrior. He was clever, ambitious, and ruthless. He made deals, broke promises when it suited him, and stepped over anyone who stood in his way. Within 10 years, he had become exactly what he dreamed: wealthy, powerful, famous. But behind the golden doors of his great mansion, Marcus sat alone every evening. His business partners feared him, but did not love him. His wife left him because he treated her like a possession. His children barely knew his face. His so-called friends were only there for his money. At night, when the house was silent, Marcus would sit by the window and feel a strange, hollow emptiness that no amount of gold could fill. He told himself, "I just need more gold, more power, then I will be happy." But the more he got, the emptier he felt. Meanwhile, Samuel lived a simple life back in the village. The farm produced just enough, sometimes barely enough, but Samuel never complained. He helped his neighbors. He taught village children to read on Sunday afternoons. When a widow down the road could not feed her children, Samuel quietly left baskets of food at her door without ever asking for anything in return. He married a kind woman named Anna. Together they raised 3 children who laughed loudly and loved freely. Their small home was always full of visitors, warm voices, and the smell of fresh bread. Samuel was not rich, but every single morning when he opened his eyes, he felt a deep, quiet joy in his chest that needed no explanation. 20 years after their father's death, Marcus fell gravely ill. Lying alone in his cold, enormous bedroom, surrounded by expensive things but no warm faces, Marcus did something he had not done in 20 years. He wrote a letter to his brother. "Dear Samuel, I have built everything Father said he could not give us. I have gold, I have land, people know my name, but I am dying alone in a house full of strangers, and I have never truly lived. I have one question for you, brother. Are you happy?" Samuel received the letter. He read it twice. He sat quietly for a moment. Then he picked up his pen and wrote back just 2 words: "Come home." Marcus sold his mansion, left the city, and returned to the village for the first time in 20 years. What he found there broke him open. Samuel's small farm had grown, not into a great estate, but into a living, breathing community. Children ran up to Samuel in the street and hugged his legs. Old men waved from their doorways. Anna still held Samuel's hand as they walked, and after 20 years, she still looked at him like he was the most wonderful thing she had ever seen. Marcus stood at the entrance of the village, and tears ran silently down his face. That evening, sitting by a warm fire in Samuel's small kitchen, Marcus looked at his brother and said quietly, "I chose gold, and I got emptiness. You chose people, and you got everything." Samuel placed his hand on his brother's shoulder and smiled gently. "It is not too late, Marcus. It is never too late." Marcus stayed. He used what remained of his wealth to build a school for the village children, a well for clean water, and homes for families who had none. For the first time in his life, he worked not for himself, but for others. And for the first time in his life, the emptiness was gone. He lived another 15 peaceful years, not as the richest man in the world, but as a man who finally understood what richness truly means. When Marcus passed away, surrounded by the people of the village, they buried him beside his brother Samuel beneath a great oak tree. On his simple stone, they carved just 4 words: "He learned to give." And so, my dear friends, the story of Marcus and Samuel teaches us something beautiful. The path to gold may make you wealthy, but the path to people will make you truly rich. At the end of this life, no one remembers how much money you had. They remember how you made them feel. They remember your kindness, your warmth, your love. So ask yourself today, which path are you walking?